Protect your DNA. BioPQQ can promote formation of new mitochondria. Infowarsstore.com.
Hey guys, this is Rob Dew with Infowars.com. I have some breaking news on the Florida state shooter, who people now know as Mayron May, is the one that police shot dead. And a lot of people that knew the guy are saying, well, they're really surprised. They never expected him to do this. And there's an article out of the Panama City News Herald. They say he had ADHD and took medication to control the symptoms, which is something we've seen a lot in the shooter scenarios where they're on psychotropic drugs of one kind or another. It could be antidepressants, it's ADHD medication in a lot of cases. And then they're saying his mental health had deteriorated over the course of several weeks. And over the past several days, the deterioration had been especially rapid, and he went days without sleeping. And I don't know if any of you know, some of these ADHD medications are like amphetamines, and they could keep you up all night. And maybe this is really sad, especially for the victims who were there. But I do want to point out that it was somebody carrying a firearm that was able to stop this individual. He wasn't just able to go on and continue his rampage. As you know, it's really sad when these things happen, but what's even sadder is when you find out that most of these active shooters they either have a history of mental problems or they're on some sort of medication treating a mental problem. And is that something that triggers it? I don't know. They never want to do those studies. Everybody wants to come out and blame the gun as soon as stuff like this happens. We put out an article back in January 10th, 2013, what are mass suicide pills, mass murder suicide pills, which Alex Jones kind of coined that term when he was on the Piers Morgan show. Of the top 10 prescription drugs linked to violence towards others, a 2010 study based on FDA adverse reaction showed that 5 were antidepressants and 2 were for treatment of attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, ADHD. This is what happens. This is the result of a culture overprescribing medication. And, you know, this mentally unstable guy just at some point decided he had to go out and shoot a bunch of people. So it's really sad what happened to the victims. You know, it could have been worse. So, but in this article, there's they list a bunch of people who've murdered people while on these psychotropic drugs. So maybe these are the culprits. Maybe these are the places we have to look. But mainstream media will never point that out because they are funded mostly by advertising revenue from these drug companies. So they're not going to talk out and speak out against them. It takes, you know, alternative media, people like me in my, you know, office at the house to go through this stuff and look at it. So we'll have more updates, but there it is. I'll put the links to the articles down below so you guys can go read them for yourself, because it really is eye-opening, especially when this stuff happens. Don't blame the gun. The gun didn't do it. The gun is a tool. If you're watching this on YouTube, please consider becoming a member of prisonplanet.tv. And it's your subscriptions and support that help send our reporters out. Like we have Joe Biggs and Shakari Jackson right now out in Ferguson, Missouri, watching over that situation. We like to send reporters everywhere. We like to have 2 or 3 reporters out at once, especially if there's a lot of news going on. So your support really does help us do that. And now your subscription can be shared with up to 20 people at once. You can have 20 people online using one username and password. So that's just an upgrade we just did for everybody out there. And please consider becoming a member if you're not. And if you are a member, get somebody else to become a member.
Globalists have controlled the mainstream media for a long time, but now they're expanding, making the weaponization even more vicious and deceptive. All the major networks are state-run.
We are partnering this year with the NFL.
The NFL has become a political weapon against the Second Amendment, pushes Obamacare. MSNBC tells us that our children belong to the state.
We have to break through our kind of private idea that kids belong to their parents or kids belong to their families and recognize that kids belong to whole communities.
The brainwashing media machine has been turned up on high, and it's time for humanity to double down on the true people's media and strike back against the tyrants that are destroying our civilization with their lies and fraud. We are the resistance. You are the resistance. You are the InfoWar. It is more important than ever to realize that we are not the alternative media. We are the true media. The establishment dinosaur press is dying.
We are in an information war, and we are losing that war.
Join us at InfoWarsNews.com and PrisonPlanet.tv. Members can share their memberships with up to 11 people. By subscribing, you will literally be buying war bonds in the InfoWar to expand our operation in the face of the tyrants. Join us at PrisonPlanet.tv.